Welcome to the Global Flag Football League podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of the Global Flag Football League podcast. This is the official podcast of the Global Flag Football League, your all-access pass to the fast-growing world of flag football. We'll be bringing you exclusive insights, expert analysis, and in-depth conversations with top athletes, coaches, and industry leaders. From game strategies and league developments to sports global impact, we will cover it all. Whether you're a player, coach, or passionate fan, this will be your go-to source for everything flag football. For our very first episode, we couldn't ask for a better guest, Patrick Johnson, president of the GFFL. Pat is a Super Bowl champion, former NFL wide receiver, and a standout track and field athlete. With his deep experience in both elite sports and executive leadership, he's stepping into this role at an exciting time for the sport. Today, we'll be discussing a range of topics to give you a better understanding of what the GFFL is bringing to the game and how it's shaping the future of flag football. Patrick, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you,
of
Dylan.
course. Get excited to get this thing going, man.
Oh, yeah.
So before we get into speaking about the GFFL, I think it'd be great for you to give a little further background on yourself and what you bring to the table as president of the GFFL.
Well, I'm 48 years old. Yeah, 48. You start getting older, you start forgetting,
Right.
So I'm 48. I've spent 8 seasons in the National Football League, a couple years in Canada. And then after that, got into finance and have been in finance, since 2009. And I've worked in a lot of different sectors, you name it.
Yeah.
But I've always loved sports, and I've always, my goal was to one day own a professional sports franchise like an NFL team or an NBA franchise. Obviously that didn't materialize, but I was still able to get involved in, I wouldn't say minor league professional sports. I was the president of the Arena Football League's Oregon Black Bears franchise in 2024 last season, where I got some really key experience in game day operations, putting on the actual event. I had, prior to 2024, I did have an opportunity to be involved in arena football, but it was during COVID and my franchise couldn't play. So last season, I was fortunate enough to, and we wound up only playing a half season, but I did get some really, really, really good experience at game day operations and putting on a show, so to speak, and was able to successfully do that. But then, this opportunity came, and I as I've gotten more involved in it, the more excited I have become about it.
Right.
Flag football. Obviously, everybody knows what flag football is, but as a professional sport, I think it's very exciting, particularly for women, because it's opening a door that has never been opened before for women to participate and play the game of football, because it's non-contact. But you have to be a very, very, very good athlete to be able to. Do you know that it's actually harder to pull a flag than it is to tackle someone?
Right. Yes, it really is.
You have to have really good feet, really good balance, be able to move, and it's easy. It's easier to tackle someone to pull a flag. So you're opening a door. As I speak about women, you're opening a new door for a new type of an athlete to emerge, and I think that's very exciting.
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly right. It is harder because anybody who has played it, it's like anybody can run up and grab somebody by the shirt, and pull them to the ground. And not saying, if it's a professional athlete, of course it's different. But at the same time, when it comes to a flag, even the best of the best have a hard time doing it, because if someone makes that right shift, it's difficult.
Yeah, and plus, they're teaching you how to shimmy and twist your
man.
hips and stuff like that. And it's it's harder. It's harder than it even looks.
Yes.
And you have to be. And then you look at the two-way player. So it's one thing to be able to go out and catch passes, but can you throw?
Right.
Or can you play on defense? It's one thing to be able to run forward, but can you backpedal, turn and run, break on the ball, intercept it, So are you so it takes a different kind of an athlete to play flag.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to be a really good all around athlete to be good.
Right. And not to mention, limiting the contact too, because obviously you're not padded, so like going up for a ball, you got to still be careful. Not that it's not, there's still definitely contact, but not like it was when you have pads on, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're not worried about getting the big shot. Now,
Yes.
two people can run into each other on accident,
Yes.
but you're not going out trying to, decapitate someone,
Right.
right? Separate the man from the ball, so to speak. So
Yes.
the nuances are different, but
Hmm.
it's really exciting. And it's gaining popularity
Right.
as you
Yes.
know.
No, massive, massive popularity. You're right about that. I mean, you're already making splashes and moving quickly, as the president, because it was just announced a couple weeks ago, right? And so you've already having partnered with Fan Shop, collaborating with myself, getting this podcast started,
That's
and
right.
recently partnering with Score Break, so which is the leader in real-time video analysis, having already revolutionized professional sports, providing cutting-edge technology from the Premier Lacrosse League, NBA Academy, Slam Ball, Unrivaled, and more. I mean, you're making moves, Pat. This is awesome.
Well, one of the things that with these smaller leagues, the reason why they don't succeed is because some leagues they have this model where they go and they charge a certain amount of money to a team that wants to start up, but a lot of times when you're dealing with these smaller budgets,
Yeah.
some of that money can actually help that team make it, but the model for a lot of these leagues is they take money from these teams that start up,
Yeah.
and then the teams don't have enough money to make it through
Mm,
the season, and so teams start folding and falling off because they don't have enough money there.
right.
So what we're doing at the league level is trying to set up partnerships where we're putting revenue on the books with these partnerships so that the league itself will be able to sustain itself and then actually have something to offer people who want to join in lieu of television deals or revenue or something that'll pay back. So like if you're going to buy a franchise
Yeah.
and you're not getting anything back from the league, what's the point in you buying a franchise? There's
Right.
no return on the investment. So what we're trying to create at the league level is some opportunities where we're going to generate revenue, but then have something that we can say, hey, you want to set a team here? Well, if you can join and play with us, this is what our revenue numbers look last year, and this is what percentage of those revenue numbers look like, and this is how we're cutting this or allocating this percentage of our growth or of our net revenue back to the teams. When people see that you have that kind of model in place,
Hmm.
then they're going to be more apt to want to be a member. So we're
Got
just
it.
trying to set up and put together these partnerships that can generate revenue so that we can be attractive for someone who wants to come and join us,
Right.
after the fact. So I'm just trying to just cut as many deals as we can that are going to be able to put revenue on the books.
Yeah.
And the more of those we can do, the better.
Right. Well, I want to unpack a little bit of that, and backtrack a little bit because for those who may not be familiar, can you just break down exactly what the GFFL is? And then obviously you just mentioned a few things, but what exactly sets it apart from other flag football organizations and, why
Well,
it's going
I,
to be successful?
Well, it's going to be successful because we're going to have these type of revenue producing deals in place. Like we're actually running a business.
Yes.
This is going to be a business, and maybe I would say, without disparaging anyone or anything, I think the difference is going to be we're actually paying players,
Yeah.
a living wage. This isn't this. Well, our aim is for this to be set up in part above because this isn't a league where we're just charging you money to come and work out so we can make
Mhm.
some money
Right. Right.
or just having you pay us so you can play.
Yeah.
We're not set up to be that type of a situation. And
Hmm.
so with that being said, we're going to get better athletes and more serious competitors to come and play.
Mm.
Like you and I, we might be wiki and warriors, right? We
Right.
might
Right.
love to go on the field. But this wouldn't be for us.
Got it.
This flag football league will be for somebody. Let's just say there might be an NFL free agent that is not under contract with somebody. It
Mm-hmm.
could be a woman that plays in the WNBA who's not in a contract with somebody,
Got it.
right? Somebody who's got a really good athletic skill set, right? And this is an opportunity where they can, make a decent chunk of change for a short period of time, right? So we're
Right.
setting it up to be that.
Okay.
This isn't an intramural co-ed. Now the women play the women, the men play the men, but this isn't set up to be, you know, one of those other types of scenarios where, they're
Right.
paying us to come play, but we're not set up to do that.
Right. Right. So that's how you think that you can attract top tier athletes and create a competitive and exciting product for those guys is by paying a competitive, wage for them and then making this almost
Yes,
the elite flag football league, right? This is kind of
that's
what
what
you're
we're
going
set up
after.
to be. That's right. And then
Okay.
then everything else can just trickle down from there.
Right.
There's going to be, and what I think is going to set us apart is that this isn't just this is the global flag football league.
Right.
So what we're doing is we're set up for expansion into other continents,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, Canada, Europe. We're going to be, hopefully during 2027, we'll be playing games not just here in America,
Yeah.
but we'll be playing games in Mexico, Canada, and Europe.
Yeah.
That's only 2 years from now, and it's a lofty goal, but we think we can meet it.
Right. No, I think that you're absolutely right. And
That's
that,
gonna be that's the biggest difference.
yeah, that's exciting though. I mean, because with the Olympics coming up, it's a historic moment for the sport, right? So how do you think this will impact its popularity worldwide, with the Olympics coming up? And obviously everyone's got to be talking about it. And what role do you see the GFFL playing in shaping the future of flag football leading up to and beyond the Olympics?
Well, I mean, we have a tournament this year, we'll play 2026, we'll play 2027. So my expectation would be for us to put half of the players on the U.S. Olympic team, and maybe some other players that are playing on other continents, they'll make their national team,
Yeah.
right? So, the goal would be to have the GFFL produce a lot of Olympians
Mm-hmm.
in
Have
3 years.
Have you reached out to any other countries that might, actually be wanting to start learning it now because of the Olympics coming up? They might not be as, inclined to football as the United States, so like other countries are probably wanting some of this expertise for the flag football. So have you reached out to anybody has anybody reached out to you about that?
Yes, we're already in discussions about expanding into Europe already,
Okay.
in Canada already.
Got it.
And I think Mexico has one of the strongest women's flag football teams
Right.
in the world.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're gonna make a real hard push to
Okay.
get a I guess we call it like a micro league or another league down there as well,
Right.
with maybe 6 to 8 teams,
Gotcha. I was just
or
going to
maybe
ask.
even 10 teams.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what does that exactly look like? Would you do some clinics as well? Would it be more just getting a league going down there, like teams? How would that look? I mean, it's still new, obviously, but what do you envision?
Yeah. Well, I think the way that I'm approaching this is I'm kind of letting the evolution kind of guide where I think my thoughts are going. I'm kind
Yeah.
of letting the universe kind of chart this path instead of me saying, okay, I think it's going to be, this is how I want this to go.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm just letting the universe kind of take us down this right path. But I think to your question, how do I think it would work in terms of, expansion, let's just say into
Yeah.
Mexico? Yeah, there would be some clinics and stuff like that, but they're already playing flag football down
Right.
there.
Right.
I mean, they're playing flag football in Mexico.
Yeah.
They're playing
Competitively.
good flag
Yeah.
football down there in Mexico,
Right.
right? So I think just from the standpoint of getting the right organizational structure with people who are on the ground there that can basically go and implement,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just going to take that, and then in other continents as well, in other countries as well, like Canada, we're already in talks to begin looking at expansion there as well.
Mm. Okay.
So the GFFL right now, it's comprised of, it was initially set up to put a team in every city where there's an NFL franchise.
Got
That
it.
was how it was initially set up. So the first 16 teams that will field in 2026, they're all owned and operated by a former NFL player.
Wow.
And we set it up like it was set up like this because one of the things that guys struggle with, particularly, you might go and play pro sports for 10 years or 5 years or 3 years, but for you to get a shot at owning a sports franchise, that never comes.
No, you're right.
So we're extending that opportunity to those guys because they've already paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
I do.
And so it just gives them a shot at ownership. So the 16 franchises, the teams that we have now, I don't want to call them franchises.
Mm-hmm.
The 16 members that we have now are all former players.
Got it. That is amazing. So 16 teams now. You said a tournament coming up this year, right? Can you talk more about that tournament coming up? I believe you said it was in Vegas, right?
It's going to be in Las Vegas. Right now it's slated for June, but I think we're going to push it out probably and do it in August.
Okay.
Just to give us a little more runway to prepare and get it done just very nicely.
Right.
But it's a round robin tournament, single elimination, and there's going to be a big prize for the team that wins.
Yeah.
And there's also going to be a online draft. Okay. Where after a certain amount of time, I think maybe Monday, we'll be putting out a call to action to where anybody can go and log in and sign up for an opportunity to be picked. So when they go in, we're partnered with a company called All 22. All 22 has an online portal where they actually track and measure, and they get all this data on athletes. So you'll be able to go into All 22, set your profile up, put up all your film and your measurables, and then once we say this date's going to cut off on this date, at the cutoff date, then everybody, like all the teams, will basically just have all this data, and they'll start preparing for the draft, and then we're just going to go out and select. I think it might be, was it 12 women and 12 men per team, so it's 24 players per team times 16. It's close. What is it? 184 players?
Yeah. Wow.
184. So it'll be 184 men and women that are going to get selected.
Wow. So it'll be a full-on draft for these players, these teams, right? So these teams aren't already assembled. This is teams that are going to be selected for this tournament.
Well, the teams, let's just call it like the Canton Dogs, right?
Yeah.
The Canton Dogs, for all intents and purposes this year, they'll pick 24 players to play on their team in this tournament.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is more on the franchise owners to kind of do their research on all the information that they're given, and then they're going to be picking the players from there.
You're going to be responsible for going through all this data.
Yeah.
And selecting who you want to select.
Gotcha.
And then we have the online draft, and then it'll probably take all day or whatever, but all these players will get selected, and then the league will fly all these players in. It'll be all expense paid, room, food, hotel, you get a per diem, and then there'll be a winning prize at the end for the team that wins.
Oh, that's awesome. Man, I'm excited for this. I cannot wait as this leads up.
We're in the process of possibly, most likely, having a team from Germany come and play as well.
Ooh.
So it'll have an international flavor to it off the jump. So we'll have some people coming from another country to play. We'll probably get somebody from Mexico too. I'll look into that. That's
right.
Yeah.
I mean, August.
But it's exciting. It's exciting. This is very exciting. And I think that once we have the tournament, people see it, when they look at the branding, or look how nice it looks, and I think it's going to take on a life of its own at that point.
Right. No, absolutely. And honestly, August is a little ways away, so there might be some other teams that other countries that hear about this and want to join as well, and make this thing big.
We're definitely open to even expanding the pool of teams.
Right.
We have to, we only initially set it up for the first 16, but
Mm-hmm.
we definitely are flexible,
Mm-hmm.
definitely flexible to making some additions if somebody wanted to come and play, particularly from out of the country.
Right. Absolutely. So what does it look like moving forward into 2026 with the teams? Will it ever be, do you see it ever evolving into where they'll play like a schedule almost like the NFL? They'll travel and play teams.
It is set up for
That's
that.
what it's going to be set up, right? Okay, okay.
Exactly the same.
Got it.
So 2027, when we already have the team names, team logos for every team
Right.
in the US. And it's in every NFL city.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you're gonna have your divisional breakdowns are gonna be very similar. North, south, east, west, two conferences. It's all going to be similar from that standpoint. And so let's just say the West, you got Las Vegas, San Diego, Los Angeles, maybe Tijuana. You got Oregon, you got Arizona. Let's see who else. Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the West.
Right.
No, you got San Francisco too.
Yeah.
We got NorCal as well, and Seattle.
Yeah.
So like you're gonna have your West, and then these teams are gonna be playing each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got your Southeast, same thing. Daytona Beach, South Florida, Atlanta, Charlotte.
Right.
So we already have all. I think we even have Albuquerque that's going to come in. So once we announce the full slate of teams, we just don't have owners for those teams yet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Right.
You see what I mean? So,
yep.
So there's just a matter of we've set it up and structured it to where we just need to basically just start saying, okay,
gotcha.
This is you. This is you. This is you. So, but it's going to be exactly the same. Teams are going to be traveling and playing, and then we'll try to because this is global. You might have a league in Mexico.
Yeah.
You're going to have a league in Canada. Then you're going to have a league in Europe. So then you start figuring out trying to have like almost kind of like a World Cup.
Yes. Yeah. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, we're going to copy the same. We're going to copy it the same way.
Right.
We're going to copy that same model.
Mm-hmm. No, that's an amazing model. I think, I think it's definitely going to be successful. Do the franchise owners, I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, I might have missed it, but does it have to be an former NFL player to be a franchise owner? And if not, is there an incentive for former NFL players to be owners?
Well, yeah, it is because, to answer the first question, I would no.
Okay.
No, but I would like for it to be that. I'd like to be able to extend that opportunity out, obviously, because I'm in that fraternity. And,
right.
A lot of guys leave the sport and, the sport may not necessarily care about you as much as it does while you're there.
You're right.
And so just be able to extend an opportunity, I would prefer it rather than not.
Right.
Let's just put it that way. But no, the answer is I would prefer it, but no.
Okay. Yeah, to extend their expertise, right? That's what they've done, especially for players that have. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things about a NFL player is they're going to be some of the best athletes,
right? In
terms of running, jumping, coordination, body control, and and things of that nature. But then I also say no because it would be exclusionary of a woman, right?
Right.
You can have a woman that could have been a big time lacrosse coach or something like that, and that's what I was alluding to earlier with flag football at the professional level, how it's going to open the door to a different kind of athlete from the female side because it's a brand new sport for them. You're going to have a ballerina that's done ballet her whole life go out for football and be the best receiver in the league. You're going to see it.
Yeah.
You're going to have all walks of life, all different women from all walks of life. You might have a stay-at-home mom that she works out every day, but she might have been an athlete in college or something like that. But she might turn out and be the best quarterback in the whole league.
Right, right.
And so, like, that's the most exciting part to me, is that it's opening a door for a new athlete,
Yeah,
a new female athlete, right?
right.
So
No, it's exciting, man. I mean, I'm just even like, I know I'm spitballing right now, but I mean, it's obviously expanding to collegiate sports, right? And especially for men and women. So, do you see this potentially being like the next level for women after collegiate sports? As you know, like the
well,
professional.
yes. Well, right now, I think that there's 14 states that have sanctioned varsity flag football for girls,
Yeah,
women.
yeah,
And so eventually it's going to be all 50 states.
yeah,
You got some universities now, like D3 schools, that already have flag football teams.
right.
And
Yeah,
so you're gonna eventually have University of Michigan women's flag football.
hmm
And it's gonna be more popular. It's gonna be the most popular women's sport in college. I
right.
believe that.
Yeah, no, I believe it as well. And, because you see clubs, in universities all over the place, flag football, rugby, things like that. But this will actually be a legit varsity sport. I had a buddy who told me that one of his friends called him up and was like, yeah, my cousin or, one of my friends just ended up getting a full ride scholarship to a school in Ohio for flag football. And he's like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's taken over, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
taken off. So, I
yeah.
mean,
It's only gonna X the ball is starting to roll down the hill so fast
yeah,
that you're gonna start seeing these advancements almost happen overnight in the sport.
right. Nope, you're absolutely right. So how do players once that the all 22 gets set up, is that be the first step for them to sign up for this tournament, is get their information into there and then hopefully they get drafted? Is there ways they can communicate with coaches? Do you know that part of it yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. So what? So you just got. So we'll put this call to action out
Okay.
probably Monday, and then it'll give instructions on how to go in and set your profile up. And if you got film,
Yeah.
upload it. And do all those things, and then we're gonna run that for 90 days,
Okay.
and then every team, or they're just gonna go in and look through all this data. And they're gonna pick.
Yeah.
And so also, yeah, so in like if you're not registered in all 22, you won't be able to get picked.
Okay.
So if you're like an NFL guy or that's been out for a year, you got to go and put your stuff in there as well.
hmm
You can't just call me or
Yeah.
call somebody else and be like, "Oh, can I get in?"
Yeah.
Nah, you got
Yeah.
to go through the process just like everyone else, and then we'll go and the teams will make their selections.
Right. And there's obviously going to be a deadline for that too, because the coaches have to do their, due diligence on everybody. So obviously it's probably going to have to be somewhat quick for them to get it in as well,
Yeah,
right?
it'll be. I think the cutoff will probably be like June the 1st.
Yeah.
You'll have to have everything in June the 1st. Then that'll be the cutoff. So everybody that's in there before then,
Yeah.
they'll be eligible.
Right, right. Well, I might have to go dust the old VHS tapes out, and I'm just kidding.
No, but it is.
Yeah.
Look, it's gonna be exciting.
Right,
I mean, flag football it is exciting. It's an
right.
exciting game. You think about, well, you know what RPO is? It's run pass option,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And so the hardest thing about and when you went to college, there were 7 quarterbacks on the roster, so you
Right.
went and played DB, right?
Right.
And from playing on defense, like, you got to know where the quarterback is so that you can actually adequately play your defender and play your zone if it's a
hmm
zone. But in flag, it's a run pass option at all times because the
Yeah.
receiver can get back, you can throw it back to them. But if they're on the far right side of the field, the launch point from the quarterback is different. But if he
Yes.
throws it all the way back to the other side of the field, now you're playing the quarterback from over here. So it's harder to even play defense.
Yes, you're right.
So like a lot of these intricacies make it really hard to play defense, and you got to be in shape.
hmm Oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, if you're not, I
Yeah,
mean, then even like the center can go out for passes, and it's just
the
such a
center is eligible.
yeah, just a different game. You're right. And it is extremely fun. I mean, competitive as hell contact
It's
because
very,
you,
very,
yeah,
very competitive. But
yes,
I'm real excited and happy that I get the opportunity to be a part of trying to create something that's gonna is gonna take on a life of its own, and
yeah,
at some point, somebody else will be the president of the league, but I'll be happy just to be part of the team, the architects to put it together and get it on the tracks and get it going for sure.
Right. No, you're right. And you think about it, yes, there's some top athletes out there who are fast, strong, and, can have played college football, but there's also some people who've been playing flag football for the last 10, 15 years and they're savvy, and those guys are going to be some of the guys that can put up film, as well. And so it's like, you're going to see some of those guys.
Yes. Just because you're a great football player does not mean that you're going to be a great flag football player.
Right. Yeah.
Right. The best football player is not necessarily the most athletic.
No, you're right.
It might not be the best athlete. You could be a guy, and you've seen guys go from one team to the next and don't have the same impact. Right.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, there's an art to playing the game.
Right.
Yeah, just because you're a great football player does not mean that you're going to be a great flag player. Now, if you are a good athlete and you have the ability to play, both ways, then you're going to have a chance.
Right.
Right. But you got to, and I think some teams may not have two-way players.
Yeah.
But if you are a good two-way player, you're going to have a better shot.
Yeah, exactly. Talk about being in shape if you're playing both ways, but it's like ideally, obviously, you want to have an offense and a defense, but some of those guys are just going to be so valuable that you're going to have them on both sides.
You have to have them on the right, and plus,
yeah.
like you said, flag players, because the dimensions of the field are different. Your play concepts, they're similar.
Yeah.
Right. When you're dividing the field in thirds, high, middle, and low, the concepts are still the same, but you're in the confines of a smaller confine. So like you're cutting up a smaller piece of the field. And so it's a little bit different nuance in how you're running your plays and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Right. So because you're by rerunning a play and the center's hiking the ball. And then she's running a drag pattern, or he or she is running a drag pattern.
Yeah.
So it's just, and if you, it's like, I mean, I went and played ball in Canada, and in Canada they had the field dimensions were wider. The field was 15 yards wider. The end zones were 20 yards deep as opposed to 10. I mean, there were 12 players.
Yeah. And
the way that the field was cut up was totally different, and that was hard to adjust. For the first year, the coverages were different.
Yeah.
They called them different things. And so flag is going to present that same type of learning experience for somebody who's been playing, traditional, just regular basic football.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus you can't scare anybody by how big you are.
No, exactly. Maybe how fast you are, but no. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it presents a different set of challenges.
It is.
For the person playing on offense and the person playing on defense. So it's very refreshing.
Right, exactly. Especially for quarterbacks too, who are so used to throwing on a traditional field and then it narrowing and, can't throw that. Sometimes you can't throw that deep ball, but also some of those windows are different.
I mean, think about this. Everybody is a receiver. So like you used to play a quarterback. Well, a lot of times you might not be throwing the ball sometimes. You might have to lateral it back and now you're a receiver.
Right.
Yeah. And now you got and think about this, like if you got a play call that's set up and something happens and you change the play and you throw the ball back to a receiver that was normally going to be in the route and he backs out. Now then everything is converting and people are changing. So what route do you have to run now at this point?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a lot of different, you see what I'm saying? So You're the quarterback, now you're the receiver.
Yes, exactly. And then you have your free rusher coming in too. So you got to avoid that, so it's like, there's just so many different.
But this is why this is exciting.
Yes.
Right. And plus it's going to give, I predict that flag football, it'll supplant some of the minor football leagues.
Right.
In America.
Yeah.
Just because this is so new. It's not new, but it's new, right? So you're going to have people that are going to want to watch this.
Yeah.
Especially when women are playing.
Yeah.
People are going to want to sit at home and watch it. It's going to look different. People aren't going to be getting hurt. It's almost kind of like it's rugby, but people aren't even running into each other.
Right.
There's no contact, and it's exciting. They're throwing the ball. I mean, my buddy sent me a video one day, and there was a girl running a post corner.
Yeah.
And he said, that's my daughter. I said, what? He goes, yeah, she's running routes. She plays receiver at her high school for her team. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, man. This is gonna be a fun ride. And then once you see the Olympics, and if we're blessed and fortunate to get all the way through to 2028 and put some players on the U.S. Olympic team, or even have a player from another country make it to their team. I mean, that'll be awesome.
Oh,
that'll be awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for it, and especially to cover a lot of it. I mean, this is going to be amazing. Some of the conversations we're going to get to have with the players and with the coaches, and just seeing this evolve is going to be so awesome, man.
Yeah, and then we're blessed to be able to be out in front of it.
Yeah,
to where we can make this as good as we want to make it. And so, like right now, and that's why I'm doing the deals that we're trying to do on the front end to really provide with some sustainability for the league, so that it could sustain itself.
Right. Yeah. Not to circle back too much, but it just came to my mind. But do you see this potentially being like an off-season program for potentially like NFL players and things like that? Do you think that could ever be?
I don't think so, because contractual obligations. I mean, and if I was under contract with the NFL club, there's no way I'd be doing this.
Right.
I wouldn't want to risk.
Potential injuries.
Yeah, you don't want to risk that.
Yeah, for sure. What about youth? I want to touch just real quick on youth. Like, so do you see this? Again, we're super new into all this, and I know this is a lot of, things that we want, visions right now, right? But do you see this like potentially putting on clinics for the youth and helping them with their leagues and everything as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Absolutely. All things above. I mean, we're gonna have to really grow the organization.
Right.
But that's obviously is gonna take a lot more resources. So that's why developing the business from a business standpoint, to be able to generate enough revenue so that we can expand the organization to go and do those things, more outreach to the community and things of that nature. We gotta build a solid business to where we can afford to do all that.
Right. Do you see this being a safer option for the youth, compared to the traditional, youth football? Do you see this being something that might become more popular than that in the future?
Well, I do know that, I mean, the insurance companies, a lot of the insurance companies don't want to underwrite tackle football. They're starting to become less and less apt to wanting to do that. So,
right.
But tackle football it's gotten a lot safer.
Yeah.
The equipment has gotten better. Not necessarily having people just run into each other all day for an hour.
Right.
Just philosophies, are changing. Preparation, ways to prepare for games, are changing. So the game is getting safer.
Right.
I would say it'll be kind of like a flavor thing.
Okay.
Some kids might want to play tackle.
Yeah.
And some kids might want to play flag, but at least the option is there for them to do that.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that answer. I just look at it more along the lines of being able to understand the game a little bit, better in the flag sense, because you're not worried about getting your head knocked off, at that young age, and so it's like still just the early stages of it. I feel like it could be a little bit, not that it's just safer, but it's almost like a better alternative, or it's an alternative, for the learning and understanding the game of football, and not worrying about, with not tackling properly and things like that. Right.
Oh yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I started playing flag football when I was like 7 years old.
Yeah.
And I didn't start taking tackle football until I was almost out of high school. So
gotcha.
Definitely having a foundation it could provide a safer alternative for smaller kids. Yes.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Oh, thanks for touching on that. Patrick, we've covered a lot, man. I know we could probably talk for hours on this stuff, but I did want to cover real quick how do the listeners and people who are looking potentially to not only play in the tournament and join the league, but also the listeners, how they can follow along? What would be the best option for them? Would it be going to the website?
Yes, we go into the website or any of our social media channels,
Okay.
Facebook, Twitter, and I think we have. I'm like a caveman with social media. Facebook, Twitter, and what's the other one? I think Instagram.
Instagram. Yep.
Yeah,
LinkedIn. I
stuff
think
like
I've seen it
that.
all over. Yeah.
Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah, that'll be the best place for now. But and we'll be pushing out more information and data as it becomes available. But we're just, in these early stages right now of just trying to get prepared to have this tournament, and B, start to look at, cutting some more business arrangements, a couple more business deals, and then really preparing to start working on the expansion because we're already working on opening in other countries as well. So
Right.
it'll get there.
Yes, nope, you're right about that. I think the future's bright, Patrick. I'm excited to go along for the ride as well, and can't wait
Yes,
to
sir.
speak more with you about it.
So yeah, you got to start dusting off them cleats, man.
Yeah, I'll do
I'm
my
gonna
best.
start dust mine out because if you could throw, I can catch. So
Right.
just go work out for about an hour.
Yeah, it sounds like a couple of pulled hamstrings to me, but yeah, let's.
I was real bad with the calf.
Where you're the cap. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No.
an ongoing struggle. Man, it's good
Right.
talking to you.
Yeah, good talking to you as well, Patrick.
All right. Well, you need anything, Dylan, man, don't hesitate. All right.
Yeah, sounds good, Patrick.